Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump has criticised his leading competitor Kamala Harris at a rally in Atlanta. Elena Treen has the story.
Former President Donald Trump at a rally in Atlanta on Saturday tested out new lines of attack against Vice-President Kamala Harris. And remember, Donald Trump is still trying to figure out which attacks work the best against her. At one point in that speech, he even said the quiet part out loud and said, "We need to define her." And then he caught himself and said, "Actually, I don't need to define her," going on to criticize her further. Take a listen to what he said.
You know, 4 months ago, she was considered grossly incompetent by the fake news. Now they're saying, oh, isn't she wonderful? Isn't she wonderful? No, she's not wonderful. So we have to work hard to define her. I don't want to even define her. I just want to say who she is. She's a horror show. She'll destroy our country.
I found that really interesting because it matches up with what I've been hearing from Donald Trump's advisors, which is they're trying to still figure out the best way to go after Harris. And of course, they've spent their entire campaign thus far focusing on Joe Biden, not Harris. And though he's really trying to figure out what works with the crowd, what the energy is like in the room, and we saw that on Saturday night. Now, we also heard him really go after Harris for having entertainers at her own rally here in Atlanta. Also, at the same exact rally just earlier in the week, she had performers like Megan Thee Stallion perform, and Donald Trump said that he didn't like that he found it, quote, phony. Now, we know that line, phony, is something that he is continuing to try and work into his own speeches and try to paint Harris as someone who is fake. He also attempted to tie Harris to his former opponent, Hillary Clinton. He argued that Clinton had Bruce Springsteen performed for her back in the lead up to 2016. Now, another thing I want to point out that I found interesting was that he repeatedly went after Georgia's Republican governor, Brian Kemp, as well as the state's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger. Remember, they were both key to trying to deny reports of fraud during the 2020 election. Trump repeatedly called them disloyal. And I also will note that Kemp, meanwhile, even though he said he wasn't supporting Donald Trump in the primary, he did ultimately say he would support him in November.